seems uncalled for and may in fact be unconstitutional and illegal.
You're going to get a lot further working with the administration than you are being an obstructionist.
That's Governor J.B. Pritzker and Senate Minority Leader John Curran talking about the incoming Trump administration policies Democrats see as objectionable, while Republicans are saying some of these things are necessary. Good morning. Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. If you didn't see there, a message that incoming President Donald Trump posted to his social media platform, Truth Social, it just simply shares a message from Tom Fenton, who heads up Judicial Watch, a conservative-leaning litigation unit, I guess, that goes and sues states like Illinois over things like election issues and so on. But Trump shared a message from Tom Fenton that, well, let's just go ahead and read that message. It said that... Good news reports are the incoming real Donald Trump is going to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through a mass deportation program. To that, Trump just messaged true. Well, Governor J.B. Pritzker was asked about this yesterday at an unrelated event. Here's that question and the governor's response.
You may have heard this morning President-elect Trump confirming on Truth Social that he is likely to file out or declare a state of emergency for deportation and then use the military to do that. What would that mean here in Illinois? Could he use the Insurrection Act to call up the National Guard? And how would you respond to that?
We, of course, are deeply concerned about, the President of the United States calling out military inside the United States, where people are peaceful, even if there may be people who are undocumented. But the idea of calling out, the Army into the domestic confines of the United States seems uncalled for and may in fact be unconstitutional and illegal. We'll look into that. I honestly, he says a lot of things. You never know what he's telling the truth about. So we'll have to see.
Now, the governor, obviously no stranger to the issues of an executive of a government declaring disasters, declaring emergencies. We had that for well over 2 years during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think it was actually officially lifted like May of 2023, so more than 2 years. But if you look at the governor's list of disaster proclamations he's issued on his official website, you could see that long string of COVID-19 disaster proclamations. Yes, they changed over time. If you recall, at one point, Pritzker said you couldn't have a certain number of people in a boat outside in the same boat. He had a whole bunch of other orders limiting businesses that you couldn't have more than 25% capacity or something to that effect. He closed schools for a substantial amount of time. So clearly, that list of disaster proclamations from the governor during the COVID-19 emergency, something people are critical of, no question. So where do we go from here? You've got the governor having reacted to Donald Trump wanting to declare an emergency for the immigrant crisis. Well, the governor says he's worried about that. He called it possibly unconstitutional, illegal, and uncalled for. But even the governor, he says that despite him having his own disaster declarations, which clearly show gubernatorial disaster proclamation for asylum seekers. He's had this in place since September of 2022. So you can see all of the different disaster proclamations that he has, months upon months of disaster proclamations regarding, quote, asylum seekers. What does this ultimately say? It says on August 31st, without notice of 2022, Illinois and Chicago received buses sent by the state of Texas transporting Central and South Americans seeking asylum in the United States. In the interest of aiding the people of Illinois and local governments responsible for ensuring public health, safety, and welfare, Governor J.B. Pritzker has declared the state of Illinois a disaster area allowing the Illinois Emergency Management Agency to implement the state emergency operations plan, coordinate state resources, and aid with emergency purchases necessary for response. The Illinois Department of Human Services will lead that agency effort. But the most recent proclamation from November 8th, so just a handful of days ago. So clearly, Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that President Trump declaring a national emergency about the border is worrisome, but he has his own string of disaster proclamations for the state of Illinois. Fascinating to hear that. But the governor was pushed a little bit yesterday, had an unrelated event in Joliet about this, and the use of maybe the National Guard, for instance.
Well, he does not have the ability to call out the National Guard inside the confines of the United States. The governors do. There are two different provisions of the act that authorizes the use of the National Guard, Title 10, Title 32, and he doesn't have, under either one of those, the ability to call the National Guard out, again, in the United States of America. He can, however, call out the National Guard to fight in foreign wars, and indeed has done that. We've sent many, many thousands of National Guard over just my term in office to serve abroad, and that's at the behest of the President of the United States, whether it was Joe Biden or before him, Donald Trump.
So again, the idea, though, of using the military to go after violent non-citizens for a mass deportation program, one person's emergency declaration is another person's unconstitutional order. So you can kind of see how the politics plays out with this. Last week, before Trump made that announcement that he does plan on making a national emergency declaration to tackle the border crisis and do a mass deportation effort, I asked Senate Minority Leader John Curran here in Illinois to respond to, Pritzker saying, hey, if you want to come to my people, you have to come through me, and Tom Homan, Trump's pick to lead the border issues, saying, get the heck out of the way. Here's what John Curran had to say about that, and in particular, the possibility of Illinois losing resources if it doesn't cooperate with the incoming Trump administration.
When the chief executive of our state, right after the election, gets out in front and tells Illinoisans he's not going to work with the administration and he's going to stand in the way and obstruct the administration that was just elected, it is likely going to be met with a response from the incoming administration. We need to all work together, and that's why I would point to the governor. Take a look at the example of the governor of Pennsylvania, Democratic governor, but the tone he has set has been one of collaboration. You're going to get a lot further working with the administration than you are being an obstructionist. As someone that has spent my legislative career in the superminority, you have to have that willingness to work in a collaborative manner. So I would certainly encourage the governor to change his tune and find a working path that's going to be best for all Illinoisans.
So
Thank
again,
you, everyone.
Is that an endorsement for Shapiro?
Senate Minority Leader John Curran last week. Again, the governor saying that Trump's declaration of an emergency to deal with the border crisis might be unconstitutional, illegal, and uncalled for. But this coming from a governor who had month after month consecutive disaster proclamations for asylum seekers, with the most recent one, 30-day order, coming just a handful of days ago. We'll see if this continues to develop. It surely will. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the podcast where you get podcasts. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with America's Talking Network.